Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. 2017 is lit, man. Also follow me on social media. This is my Instagram page. 2017, man, what a year. You gotta do something, babe. Something special. Now, Joe Smith Jr. posted this the other day. This is his Instagram page. Make sure you follow him because I really like Joe Smith Jr. 631, that's his name. Joe Smith Jr. 631. He only has 13,000. Let's get him up there some more. I like him. I don't see what there's not to like about him. He's a working class citizen. He has a union job. He has knockout power, exciting style, and he knocked out two people he wasn't supposed to knock out. And I know it's boxing, anything can happen, but I mean, he wasn't the favorite versus Andres Fanfara or the legendary Bernard Hopkins. Now, he posted this the other day. Big announcement coming soon. Stay tuned. Fight date. He's ready. He's putting on for Long Island. And that fight is supposed to be a fight on HBO, July 15th, a triple header with him and Sullivan Barrera of Cuba. Wow. So I love the fight. I think it's a great fight. Joe Smith Jr. again, he has an exciting style. You can look at him in terms of size. Kovalev has good size to him, you know what I mean, for light heavyweight, and he's clearly strong. And Joe Smith Jr., look how big he looks next to Hopkins. Look at the width. I'm not, obviously some of you guys are gonna leave some suspect comments, but Bernard Hopkins looks pretty small next to kind of both of them. Joe Smith, he's a big dude, and he clearly has punching power, right? Because he shocked Andres Fanfara in one round, and then he knocked Bernard Hopkins out of this galaxy, out of the ring. And there's no disrespect. I love B-Hop, but I mean, that's what I seen. It looked like Bernard Hopkins. I don't know if you guys remember the movie The Last Action Hero, where that, I think it was Arnold's son, and he fell off the roof. Arnold was going against that Jack the Ripper. Yeah, what are you doing? Get down. Call me when the governor gets there. And then his kid was like, and fell off the roof. That's how Bernard Hopkins looked. Y'all don't know about classic movies. Last Action Hero with Tina Turner. Everybody was in that. T-1000. Yeah. I just like Joe Smith Jr. He's like a worker, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't supposed to be here. He's in a position he's not even supposed to be in. Kid out of Long Island, nobody even knew who he was. And then all of a sudden he just like starts smoking guys. He has a loss. He has a stoppage loss at that. And clearly he has the kind of the Rocky Balboa turn that whole around story. Got an opportunity with Fanfara on PBC. Nobody really expected much because nobody even knew, you know what I mean, knew what he was about. No one really knew him. And then look, he reposted this. He jumped 3 spots after knocking out Bernard Hopkins, I'm assuming. And they have him in the top. Donna Stevenson, Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward. Now, Ward fighting Kovalev in a rematch in June. Great fight. First fight was a great fight. I was there live, covered that particular fight. And the reason I like the fight with Sullivan Barrera is because Barrera, he lost to Andre Ward. I was at that fight, covered that fight too. But since that, see, he did my man, B-Hop, greasy. You look at him holding his head like a newborn and stuff. He's like, back up, back up. I'm telling you guys, back up. You know what I mean? The ref, that's crazy. I think Bernard Hopkins, he must have a chin because he must have been in shape because I think he got knocked out like temporarily, like whoop, whoop, you know what I mean? The lights went off, and then he recovered pretty fast. But the way he fell makes me feel like he was knocked out temporarily. And then when he hit his head, that might have woke him up on some Inception stuff when they splashed him into the bathtub. But the way he fell and didn't even try to grab himself and just literally allowed himself to fall, that's not normal. So that, to me, that makes me feel like he was knocked out. You know what I mean? Because I don't understand why you wouldn't try to grab the rope. You never see, even people, if you have your senses, your brain is hardwired and programmed to protect thyself. Like, I watch a lot of forensic files. You see when people are trying to strangle the victim and, you know what I mean, they end up killing them or whatnot. You'll see the killer had defensive wounds or fingernail scratches or this and that, because people are programmed to protect you. Someone's trying to harm you, even if the guy's bigger or whatever, there's certain things that your brain is going to tell you to do to try to protect yourself, right? Or if you touch a hot oven, you know what I mean, you're not, unless you're crazy, you're not going to keep your hand on that because it's hurting you, right? That's just human nature. And the way Bernard Hopkins fell, it just leads me to believe he might have short-circuited temporarily. But anyway, I like the fight. I love the fight, actually, with Joe Smith Jr. They were trying to get a Joe Smith Jr. fight with another New York native in the Nassau Coliseum. I think they revamped it or something, and that was against Shawnee Monahan, but that didn't come into fruition. Then they were talking about Monahan fighting Adonis. That didn't come into fruition. Adonis Superman Stevenson fighting against a guy he's already beat. They traded knockdowns, and that's Andres Fafara, who's now training out here where I live in the Bay Area. And I like it, man. I like it because Sullivan Barrera is no joke either. He just went up against a Golden Boy prospect who's undefeated, who was just sparring Canelo, got him ready for the fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And clearly you've seen how Canelo dominated that fight, so it looks like he was getting some good work in sparring. Shabransky was the guy that Canelo sparred. Shabransky was the guy who was showing a lot of promise and being promoted, had knockout power. And Sullivan Barrera, he got knocked down, but he knocked down Shabransky like 2 or 3 times and went on to stop him and give him his first pro loss and set his career back a little bit. You know what I mean? And he's riding off that, staying active. He's been in there with Andre Ward, which is experience. He's a big dude. I met him. You know what I mean? So shout out to Sully. He's no longer training with Abel Sanchez, to my knowledge. But this is, nonetheless, it's a good fight. Joe Smith Jr., like I said, I don't know what there is to not like about the kid. He seems like a working class dude, mild-mannered, taking care of himself and his family, and he came out of nowhere. And I like his attitude. I've seen him in interviews, and he did the unthinkable, what people thought he couldn't do, and he did it back to back on some Drake shit. We going back to back, yeah. Oh man, not again. Yeah, that just these pictures. Look at this. Look at my man's B-hop through the. That's like on some WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio type stuff. But I like it. I like Sullivan Barrera a lot too. And ultimately, I like the division. Light heavyweight's cracking, man. You got Artur Beterbiev. He's trying to sue his promoter or detach from his promotional pack, but hopefully he gets that straightened out. You got Stevenson from Farah 2. You got Ward Kovalev 2. You got Joe Smith Jr. versus Sullivan Barrera. You have Marcus Brown. I was at his last fight on the Broner card. I thought he looked really good, and he stopped Thomas Top Dog Williams, right? You have a lot of top-notch fights that can be made. Another one, I just ran into my man. Shout out to TMT, the money team, Mayweather Promotions. I ran into my man Badu Jack. He said his first fight at light heavyweight, he was assured or told by Floyd that he's going to get a title shot. So you got Badu Jack moving up to light heavyweight. This light heavyweight's cracking. The boxing, UFC kind of falling off this year. Like, they had some great stuff last year. UFC 205. I heard Amanda Nunes, she has a fight coming up now, so that was a good announcement. But boxing's killing, and boxing has a ton of these divisions that are just becoming stacked. I mean, 126, 135, 147, 154, 160, 175, heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Some of these divisions are getting stacked, and I really like the HBO triple header. Again, they're putting Takashi Miura of Japan, who messed up Francisco Vargas's eye, nearly stopped him, got stopped, and he fought on the same card as Francisco Vargas's last fight this January, when Francisco Vargas lost to Miguel Berchelt, and that's who is now the WBC champion. And Berchelt is going to fight Takashi Miura, so should be a war. I mean, those guys, that's what they're known for. Their styles are known for wars. And then to put it on the card with Joe Smith Jr. versus Sullivan Barrera, I mean, this is good. Now, the contracts, they're still finalizing, but it sounds like it's far enough along where we'll see that this summer. Big announcement coming soon. So it sounds like the stuff is ready made and the agreement is in place. Plus, I looked at Sullivan Barrera, his page, and he's already training and cycling and stuff like that. So it looks like it's done. They probably have to go through the particulars and stuff like that. But you just see this. Shout out to Sully B. Morning Roadwork, #Miami, April 27th. So, you know what I mean? This is pretty fresh within the last week or so, and he's already training. So, I like it, man. Like I said, light heavyweight is getting cracking, man. You got a lot of action, and I'm glad there's a Cuban who's getting some recognition back to back on HBO. He was on HBO Latino, I think, versus Shabransky. He was on HBO with Andre Ward, and now he's gonna headline versus Joe Smith Jr., another HBO card. And aside from the Shabransky, he fought this dude and he knocked him out also. So he's been making back-to-back appearances. He's with main events. He's a big dude, man. I met him, you know what I'm saying? And he was out in Oakland for the war fight, and that's when I met him. The dude's big, and he clearly has punching power. Look at him. Let's go, man. Joe Smith Jr. has punching power. And see, I told you this, and I mean, you can take it for what it's worth. That's what it looks like. This is the Shabransky fight. That's what it looks like HBO is kind of going after, like the sure shot action fights for whatever reason. But I'm not mad at this particular card. I don't think that's the way to conduct the business, because even the fights that we think are quote unquote sure shot will deliver action, like Canelo versus Chavez Jr. HBO pay-per-view, the Civil War. Guess what? It was no Civil War. So you can't fake boxing. Some fights, even though on paper, like even Ruslan Provodnikov versus Lucas Matisse, the Machine, I thought that was going to be more of a war than what it was. But usually, sometimes you have fights with two power punchers like that. The guy who could box better is going to just revert to more of the boxer puncher, more of the boxer than all-out brawling, because he knows how dangerous the other guy is, and that's what we've seen. So I've seen some fights where it looked like they were guaranteed action and they weren't. So I don't think that's a great thing for HBO to just kind of try to cherry pick and only get fights that they think are going to deliver. You know what I mean? Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux. It works sometimes. You've seen Curtis Stevens get knocked out in brutal fashion, so it works. But it also, I don't think every fight is going to pan out like that. But this fight, I think, based on the skill of both guys and the fact that they have power, they're both big for the division, or just big in general, I think this will deliver. And I like the card, so this is a good action card. Okay. And another thing I'm liking seeing more and more of these guys who, even if they don't have a fight, it looks like they're still training, still trying to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I'd always advise that. You know what I mean? Fight or no fight, if you're an active fighter, you need to be working, you know what I mean, to some capacity. Not like to the point where you're going to overtrain, but you could do certain things and kind of stay within a certain threshold, like not get too crazy. And I think ultimately, no excuse, Canelo was the better man, but damn, these pictures look kind of ferocious. Damn. But ultimately, I think that's one of Chavez Jr.'s problems with Canelo. I think his performance was very flat. He could have perhaps put on at least a better showing. One in spots, one a round or two. You know what I mean? But doing stuff throughout his career that you're not really supposed to be doing, and then trying to get it right for one camp, it doesn't always work like that. But I love this fight. Joe Smith Jr., Sullivan Barrera, two good fighters at light heavyweight, and they both have losses, or a loss, and they're both looking to get back into title shot contention. Again, you got Ward Kovalev, you know what I mean? Sullivan probably wants to. If Sullivan beats Shabransky and then beats Joe Smith Jr., who just knocked out two people he wasn't supposed to knock out from Farah, and then Bernard Hopkins knocked him out of, like I said, Bernard Hopkins said he's an alien. That fight showed it, because he got knocked into outer space, out of the damn ring. And if he beats Joe Smith Jr., he definitely deserves a title shot or a big money fight. And same thing with Joe Smith Jr. After knocking out those two people from Farah and Hopkins, if he beats a guy like Sullivan Barrera, once beaten, who's bounced back since that one Andre Ward loss, and deals with his power and stuff, then he deserves a title shot too. Point blank, period. This is how boxing, in the grand scheme of things, this to me is how boxing should work. This is, you start the top guys are the top guys, and then you have the other guys who are just below the top, working hard and getting the opportunity. That's how it should be going on.
Nearly 40,000 in attendance is on Fuego.
Let's go, man. Joe Smith Jr., Sullivan Barrera. Love it. Drop it in the comment section. Light heavyweight is popping. Boxingego is popping. The future. Let's go. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know who wins this fight and what other light heavyweight fights are there. Like, I really like Arthur Better Beef too. It sucks that the Sullivan Barrera fight didn't pan out, but you know what I mean? They can always come back to something like that in the future if these guys stay winning. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing.